So this is a review for A Fox in a Fix. And with me today is my good friend who actually calls himself by the same name, Fox in a Fix. Say hi.
Isn't that strange? Hi, I'm Fox in the Fix, and I love the music cue over the credits. It's called Fiddle Dee Dee, and I think last time I joined your review, we had exactly the same intro music.
That's right. So maybe there's something about that. Fiddle dee dee. Yes, I love that. But just a few things to get through to get started. So, as mentioned, it's a Fox in a Fix, released on the 20th of January 1951. It had a blue ribbon reissue sometime in the late 50s. It's the 610th in the series, and it's directed by Bob McKimson. There is a restoration which we'll be using in this review. It was on HBO Max, but apparently everything's just turned to you know what. But
Boo!
I'm sure it's
Boo!
yeah, boo. I'm sure at some point this restoration will be available again. I sadly can't show it to you here due to copyright on YouTube. So you'll have to make do with my synopsis where, to put it simply, it's just a simple story of a fox trying to catch some chicken while at the same time trying to outwit a bulldog watchdog. So there you are. And trivia, really, there's only one as per the animated draft. The working title was The Foxy Fox. And my good friend Devin Baxter, over on his Patreon page, he's done an animated breakdown as well. So if you want to know who's animated what, he's got you covered over there. So, Fox, and I'll call you Fox because watching the Fox cartoon, of course. So, what appeals to you about this particular short? Like, why this one?
Well, first of all, I don't like the name the Foxy Fox, so I'm really glad that's not my nickname. I think this is a fun short. You can see McKimson was a really strong director with people like writer Warren Foster and animators Bill Melendez and Rod Scribner in his crew, because just from the first scene you can tell the writing is on point, with Fox breaking the fourth wall, nighttime, and the way this fox sneaks around. And now that chicken is losing consciousness, and later when the fox does the same thing when he sees the watchdog, those are fine examples of perfectly fine and cartoony animation.
When watching this cartoon, because I actually hadn't seen this before, this review, if I'm being perfectly honest. I know you're shocked because you would have thought I
What?
would have tracked this down because of your name straight away. But no, I heard a restoration may be forthcoming. It did end up coming, and I thought I'll just wait till I'm up to it, which we are, of course, right now, 1951. This actually felt like a Foghorn cartoon, but without Foghorn. Like, you could replace the Bulldog with Foghorn, and you'd have pretty much the same thing, I would think.
Yeah,
If
that's a really good point. You could replace that bulldog with Foghorn any minute, and it would be a Foghorn cartoon really recognizably. And this dog is the same dog McKimson used around this time alongside that tuxedo cat in It's Summertime and Early to Bed. And he also looks a lot like the dog McKimson used in the first two Hippity Hopper shorts alongside Sylvester.
Yeah, I mean, if it ain't broke, why fix it? The strong design,
He didn't break through or anything.
no.
McKimson did a similar Fox picture 2 years later called Easy Peckins. The Fox design is a little different, but it's possible he was experimenting with new characters around this point.
As you would, for sure. And I should mention that, of course, yes, if you replace the Bulldog with Foghorn, of course, the whole thing about the Bulldog training the Fox disguised as a dog probably wouldn't quite work out, but I'm sure with a few changes, yeah, this could have been a Foghorn short. Maybe the Fox disguises himself as a rooster and you'd have a similar sort of story, but again, it's okay. We've got something different, which is always great.
I think making up new characters, it sounds easy. I mean, there's a little bit of Looney Tunes cartoon going on behind me with my cat watching the fish. I mean, that's a cartoon in itself, but you see time again and again that it's actually really hard to come up with new characters. So, I'm not mad at him.
Exactly. It's nice to see a few different things in coming through. And I like the beginning. The beginning just shows what a great director McKimson really was. I like how you have the Fox narrating what he's about to do. Of course, wonderful vocals by Mel Blanc. And it's just, if you look at the angles in the very beginning and just the mood that is set before the Bulldog comes into the picture, it's really, really top notch. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah. I think, like I said, the backgrounds look really good, and the way these characters move around, I think it gets a little stiffer towards the middle of the cartoon. Overall, it looks really good, and you see that after the 55 releases, the animation in McKimson cartoons becomes really stiff. This unit got revived after a shutdown with different writers, lesser skilled animators, and less budget. But at this point, it still looks perfectly serviceable.
Oh, exactly. And there are a few moments where you can freeze frame and there's some really interesting stuff to see, like when, the fox gets hit in the head and that sort of stuff. You see some wild looking bits of animation.
Yeah, I really like the fox forced running cycle when he's taking lessons.
Oh yeah, exactly. But of course, the short is also really funny, and it's got some great moments in there. Of course, part of that is Mel Blanc's wonderful delivery in this short, especially when he says,
Ooh, you evil genius, you.
after thinking that shaving that little bit makes him look like a dog, but it's
Yeah, it didn't work out too well. I think it's weird they make it so clear that the dog knows it's the fox all along. I think it's funnier when the audience doesn't know if the dog has found out yet.
mm,
A fine example is SpongeBob meets the Strangler, in which it's not clear if SpongeBob is messing with the Strangler or if it's just obnoxious. But what makes it extra weird is that the fox is already breaking the fourth wall all the time with speaking and looking to the audience. So we are supposed to believe we are looking over the fox's shoulder. And also in the end, I think it's funny though that the fox is grabbed by a fox fur company, so it shows everyone was able to see this wasn't really a dog.
exactly right. And but I tell you, one bit made me chuckle a lot, and my favorite bit in this short has to be the fact he comes up with this genius plan to disguise himself as a dog, and of course be able to snatch the chickens. He walks past the bulldog, and the bulldog's fully asleep, and yet he gets upset that the bulldog's sleeping and actually wakes him up just to conduct his plan when he could have just obviously gone and stole the chicken, hence, the joke. But boy, did that make me laugh. What
Yeah,
do you
that's a
think?
really good point because I didn't even notice that. But when you told me, I was like, yeah, that's hilarious.
I'm thinking you watched this cartoon a lot more and you didn't even notice it? You're crazy.
Well, I'm not sure if I watched it a lot more, but for the longest time, it was really hard to find a good looking copy of this short because it never appeared on any digital home media, only on VHS, I think. Probably because it doesn't feature any major characters. Before it came onto HBO Max, it was a really obscure short, but it's now fallen into obscurity again, probably because HBO removed half their library. I did choose this name to give the impression I do know the deep cuts and not just a casual fan. So that's kind of why.
Of course. And a few other bits I liked. I like the fact that while the bulldog is training the fox as a dog, that they're going to sleep together in the same bed. It's like, all right, I guess that's one way to move the story along and have a cheaper setup where you just have one setup, you got them both in the same bed. But I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, because they're both watchdog, they need to be in the watchdog house, but also the bulldog does know it's the fox, so maybe he needs to keep an eye on him. They did look very cozy in there.
Of course, unlike here where I'm recording in summer temperatures, but in any case, I'm sure it'll be cozy in about 6 months' time for me. But of course, the end, the sleepwalking gag, absolutely hilarious because you think, okay, this is great. He's got figured out a way to trick the bulldog, but then you have that one up gag on top of that, of course, with that giant chicken, and you got the lesson number 5: don't be greedy.
Yeah, when the giant chicken was just standing around, it scared me a bit at first. It's interesting because he shows this dog this card that says "Don't wake a sleepwalker," and you see the dog thinking like, "Wait, I know it's the fox, but should I still not wake him?"
Yeah, he's the animation of him sort of conflicted, whether to grab him or not is a great bit
Yeah.
of animation too. It's a classic example of such skill that these animators had where you don't even realize it until you notice it, but it feels so natural to see, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of the standard poses that McKimson uses when the dog is moving his hands while talking, and so you can really recognize a McKimson picture because he keeps doing that all through his career. Well, I'm not terribly passionate about it. I know it's my name, but I like the beginning of this short. I like the atmosphere, but I'm only giving it a 7.5 out of 10. It's good, it's fun, but it doesn't stand out or anything.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, that's actually my rating, 7.5 out of 10. That was actually about right. I think, hey, it's not a bad cartoon by any means. If it's on and I'm not doing anything else, hey, I'll watch it. I'll have a good laugh over it. It's fun. It's just not I guess, a standout. It's one of those little quiet shorts that's a little sleeper one, if you will. You
Yeah,
know,
nobody's really talking about this one.
no, it's just your standard McKimson of this period that doesn't stand out like, say, Hillbilly Hair or anything like that. And that's okay. Not all of them can be again, like hillbilly hair. So it is what it is, eh?
Let's make it so that when you Google the name Fox and the Fix, you're first getting a little bit of information about me before you read about this short. Let's
All
make
right.
it happen.
Let's make it happen. Hashtag Fox to the Fix as well. So we'll do that, right? We'll get
Nice.
that sorted for whatever reason, in any case. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.
He should have stayed for lesson 6. Never hitch rides with strangers.